to this conference. And please, I will invite our speakers to come on the stage. So if you can, if you want to come, all of you, and then I will make the presentation. So this is Cornelia Greco, and Cornelia is the head of design of Oriflame, which you probably know, a major company in the beauty industry based in Sweden. Then we have Jonathan Siboni. Jonathan is the CEO of Luxurynsight, company specialized in data. So he will explain, of course, his business in the luxury business. Boris Gratana is the CEO of Nailmatic, a very interesting company doing nails with very particular approach. And then Dimitri Caudrelier is the CEO of Quantis, a very interesting company working in sustainability, consultant based in several countries in the world, doing some consulting in sustainable project. Please have a seat. So the subject of today, as you know, is about sustainability, and sustainability is in every mouth. Oh, sorry, I forgot to present myself. My name is Elie Papiernik. I'm the founder of centdegrés, design and intelligence company working worldwide, and particularly for beauty brands. So sustainability is in every mouth, and I wanted to show you, just as an introduction of our subject, a project that we've been doing in partnership with the CosmoProf. So every year in Bologne and also in Hong Kong, and tomorrow also in Las Vegas, we're pushing with the CosmoProf interesting projects that are very trendy and that are, in a way, activist projects. This year, for me, is about the year of sustainability. We decided to do this project called NOCO that you can see in Hall 19. It's like a factory, but what's interesting, it's as an activist project, we always prefer to act, which is better than just talking about sustainability. So what we did is we gathered with the CosmoProf team, we gathered a dream team of suppliers on ingredients, plastic material, and bottles, and of course design and automatization. To come with a finished product, a shampoo made out of only natural ingredients, and with a bottle that is 100% made out of recycled material from PET bottles. And this is really to show to people that it's possible today to do project in a different way, to act in a different way in the developments of the beauty products. But of course, I mean, making things sustainable is one thing, but how do you, in our beauty industry, whether it's makeup, skincare, perfume, how do we make sustainability desirable? It's a major subject. It's a question which is asked by all our clients, and I think your clients, Jonathan, your clients also. And I think for brands, that's why today we'll have 2 points of views. Point of views from consultants of this industry, and also point of views of brands, whether it's a big brand or it's still, I would say, maybe a niche brand or a small-sized brand. So it's different perspective, but it's the main subject. So maybe to begin with, we'll begin together, maybe Jonathan. Because it's a very compact format of conference, and it's a wide subject, of course. We decided to have 4 talks that you will see. It's very compact for you to have a larger view on the subject. Then you can contact these experts of the subject. So so we'll begin by Luxurynsight, and the question I asked to Jonathan, as a specialist of the luxury industry, is what's happening in this industry to begin with on this subject. What's happening on this industry with the brands? What do they do? What do they think? What's happening with the consumers? What data, Jonathan, do you have to answer this question? And it's always interesting to have a data specialist because it's you're listening to the market. It's not just your ideas, your point of view, but you're listening to what's happening worldwide on the market. Jonathan, what do you think?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. It's okay? Yeah? All right. So the good thing with me is I have no opinion. So I can give you the opinions that we collect through our technologies, and thank you, Elie, for being here with you today. So what we thought of sharing with you is a few main elements about what's going on with the luxury industry related to this idea of sustainability and desirability. So about this question of how sustainability and desirability can go together, we wanted to bring a few points which are more food for thoughts and just initial thoughts from a totally non-sustainability expert that I am. The first one is clean. Why clean? Because it seems that today, clean is a crucial element from consumers. You see, if we ask consumers, do you think natural or organic products will be more effective? I'm not asking if they would rather buy it. I'm asking if it will be more effective, which is much more powerful. The younger generation, Generation Z, for example, tend to believe that clean products will be much more effective, which is very important because it shows that this trend of sustainability comes actually from the consumers, which of course we would feel, right? But it's something obvious when you look at it. Therefore, an entire ecosystem developed around it, and there is an app called Clean Beauty with which you can scan your product and know if the ingredients within the product that you would buy are clean or not. Clean is about none, like the no-co. It's not using ingredients or products that would harm you. So today the consumers clearly want to engage, clearly want to know more about this element from the product, which somehow comes as a constraint from the brands because it's not them deciding, it's the consumer pushing them there. 33% actually is the percentage of Italian consumers who, when they purchase color cosmetics, choose natural products. So it's to give you an idea of how powerful this trend is. I mean, you can't just say, it's okay, I'll continue to do what I do the way I used to do it, because the market is growing there and the pressure from the consumers is growing as well. The second element is related to ethics. We're not talking about the product, we're talking about the brand itself. Some association, federation are now ranging and ranking the companies based on a lot of elements related to their ethics versus sustainability, which is, as you see here, do they publish an environmental report? Do they use the organic product? How do they stand to animal welfare, vegetarian? Do they do responsible or irresponsible marketing? Do they do ethical accreditation, donation? So this is something that became so crucial to consumers that some foundation rank these brands, and as you see, I'm not quoting any of these good friends of us, but as you see, brands have a different, I would say, pressure and position related to these elements, and from brands of big consumer groups to more niche brands like Lush, for example, they have more or less segments that are covered. That's related to the ethical perspective. 58%, another figure, is the percent of Chinese who are willing to pay more for ethical brands. And as we know, the relation between Chinese consumers and price is not secondary. So if 58% of them are ready to pay more for ethical brands, it means that brand themselves has, one, to be more ethical, two, communicate more about what they do and how they do it, to prove their consumers that they're part of this kind of world change. And the third element very related to that is transparency. Because yes, the consumer wants people to, our brands to follow more ethics, and therefore the brands release reports. All major groups today release environmental reports, which is their necessity to show their transparency or their willingness. I don't want to say that everything comes because they have to. Some have a very strong environmental push, very sincere, like Kering, for example, I don't know if they're there, that is really doing a beautiful work for years now into really developing EPL, and showing it out. So that's the transparency element, which is that brands want to show, luxury brands want to show what they do related to the environment. And there is this responsible beauty initiative that also is emerging to federate the brands in order to show what they do related to these elements. As you see, the three elements are more, I would say, constrained or pushed from the market to be able to interact. But then we get into another category, which is what can the brand provide? Not what do they have to do, but what they can give. Coolness. Why? Because associating yourself with responsible cause and dynamic makes your brand more cool, which is very positive. So you have a few examples here. Of course, we could discuss how sincere / marketing it is, but it's not really the point. The point is brands now understood that going into the sustainability path will increase their desirability, which is at the core of the question we're asking here. Can you be more desirable, but at the same time, can you be more sustainable? And is being more sustainable less desirable or whatever? This doesn't work this way. It's not a plus or minus, it's a multiply. If you do better in sustainable, you're going to increase your desirability. As you see here, when Origins plant 750,000 trees, it gives an image to its consumers and to its entire ecosystem as a brand that is more desirable. Same with La Mer. And same with this brand that has been created by Shiseido. It's called Wazo, or Waso. And Wa in Japanese means harmony. So is inspiration. The very idea behind that is how can you find inspiration in nature and in the harmony of nature to bring products that, as you see, are much more millennials and Generation Z driven, but that take nature at the core of their program by being cool. So it's using sustainability that they are cool, okay? Desirable is very linked to this idea of being cool. Today, when you ask women whether a brand is green or clean or natural, I'll leave the word to experts that will tell us the difference between all of these adjectives. But when you ask people, how do you assess if a brand is green? It's a very complicated question. The first element is the product itself. They look at the ingredients, they look at the marketing, what do they say, what do they show? Right after that, reviews. What do consumers say? Do they say the product is good, natural? What about the sincerity? Number 3, social media, which is also consumer and also a form of sincerity. And then only brand advertising and press and blah, blah, blah. So it means the consumer are the judges here. You do things, you show it, but the one saying that if you're right or wrong or how will be the consumer. And that's something crucial. That's an example of how a brand, you know, like Dior, uses sustainability or this direction to be more desirable. So this product is called Hydra Life, but Hydra is written, you see, as a very sideline, so you could as well read iLife. So iLife sounds like other products that you may think of, and gives us a little form of modernity and you know, desirability by using green products, environmental friendly products, and so on. And the last element, which is the most important, the question today with sustainability to me is not about do you have to do it, do you have to be transparent, is it cool, is it desirable? It's just obvious. It's a non-negotiable thing. It's like you can't go around it because we live in a world that is changing. And this lifestyle shift today is bringing the entire community in all of its life, in all of its purchases, to a more transparent life and to a life that indeed takes the environment at the core of it, especially the younger generation. So yes, 24% of Indian consumers would be motivated to live a more natural lifestyle to support the environment. I mean, to be ready to buy products and spend more money to protect the environment. Same with Brazil, and so on and so forth. So the idea is this element gets into a more deeper or stronger lifestyle shift where all the brands are embracing this cultural change. And that's very important because it's not the brands deciding, it's the world deciding. And the brand adapting or trying to predict these trends to be more successful tomorrow. So at the question of sustainability versus desirability, my answer would be you have to be sustainable, multiple desirability, because both will enrich each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think it's a great conclusion for me on this part because sustainability shouldn't be a constraint. I think for developing brands, for designers, marketing, it should be, as you said, a multiplier of energy. Dimitri, so Dimitri, as a CEO of Quantis, what I asked to Dimitri is, we all talk about sustainability and brands, consultants, but sometimes we don't know what we are talking about. What are the issues? What are the stakes? And for me, it was very important to ask to a worldwide expert to explain us more in detail what we are talking about, or where we can push on the buttons. So Dimitri, thank you to be here again. And can you enlighten us on this subject a little bit in the 10 minutes we have?
Yeah, thanks a lot. So just one word about Quantis. The goal of Quantis is to help organizations to take the shift on sustainability. So we are providing commitment, helping to set up the commitments and tools and metrics on this topic. And for me today, it was very important to share with you what we can see in the cosmetic industry. We are working on the food and on the apparel industry also, but what we can see on the cosmetic industry on that, and how we can see the future of sustainability for organizations. That will be the two parts of my speech. First of all, I wanted to start with one example of L'Oréal. Maybe some of you know that they have this sharing beauty with all strategy, which is actually their sustainable strategy. On their strategy, there are four main pillars. One of the pillars is innovating sustainably. On innovating sustainably, the goal is to have 100% of their products which will be better in 2020 in terms of sustainability. So they ask everybody, more or less 2,000 people, to work daily on improvement of their products on the sustainability. So they have a tool. The name of the tool is Sustainable Product Optimization Tool. And the goal is to be sure that when you are developing a new product, you are improving the score. And the score is between 0 and 10. So it's really to have KPI which are deeply embedded within the product development in the whole L'Oréal worldwide. Another trend for us, it's transparency. So I just wanted to take the example of Lush. Because when you have a look to the sustainable strategy of Lush, they speak about the mistake. They speak about the fact that they are not 100% neutral, for example, or they are not perfect on the embedding of sustainability within their product. But they speak with transparency of their failure, where they are, where they want to be, where they wanted to be, but they are not actually. So it's really an open, I would say, an open discussion with their supplier and their clients about the transparency on sustainability.
And they are sincere on that.
Exactly, yeah. Beauty Counter, it's more a smaller company. We had some speech about that yesterday about the B Corporation. B Corporation, it's one of the key standards in terms of sustainability because it will push you to be sure that you have deeply in your strategy the sustainable mission of the company. So you have to shift really deeply your business model to be sure that you are tackling all the sustainable issues in more or less all decisions that you are taking. So they have improved the score on B Corp, and they are now one of the key B Corp players worldwide. So we are moving to another sector with a company, Danone. Danone, they are looking to be B Corp in the coming years. Part of the company is B Corp, more or less 40% of the company, due to some acquisition that they have in the US. But really, they shift the way they want to do business by putting in their mission the fact that sustainability is one of the key issues. We started working with them a few years ago. At the beginning, we were saying, okay, because of their business, they are doing some bottle of water. Maybe it's going to be a little bit challenging for them to have this type of shift. But I can definitely tell you that they are putting practice, they are putting guidelines, they are putting metrics internally to really take this shift, and they plan to be a fully B Corp in 2025. And another last example with Patagonia. The idea of Patagonia is really to be sure that in all product development, they have the thinking of the circularity. So you can have a look to their website, you can have a look to the carbon footprint of the product, you can know if you want to bring back the product, where you can bring back the product, what will they do with the product, if they will put it at the incineration or if they will put it on a loop of circularity. So they have this mix of transparency, circularity, and I would say openness on where they are and where they want to be on this apparel sector. And they succeed to really to change the entire sector, for example here with Adidas, by trying to push harder the circularity on the whole sector. And I wanted to introduce also one of the initiatives we launched 1 year ago with the whole cosmetics sector. Actually, it was raised with L'Oréal and us. And the name of the initiative is SPICE, Sustainable Packaging Initiative for Cosmetics. We were only 6 companies at the beginning. We are more than 50 companies now. And the goal of this project is really to have a club of discussion on the sustainability of the packaging. That was, I would say, the first element of the initiative. But really, the goal deeply is to see how we can shape or how we can integrate the future of sustainability within the packaging on this sector by tackling all the different biggest issues that the packaging player have in the sustainability field for this sector, tackling the issue of recyclability, bio-based, the closed loop, the circularity. So we can see in this consortium that there is a big gap between the key players who have already a team of 10 people who are working on it and people who are really starting to have the journey. So the first year was really to be sure that we have the same definition of the subject, and now we will want to have another development of tools for the whole industry.
It's impressive to have competitors around the table, around the same table. We
Yeah.
talk about, we talk very much about collective intelligence. That's a very good example.
Yeah, and actually it's really pre-competitive. I will have just a few slides on that, but it's really a pre-competitive initiative, meaning we are sharing about what is sustainable or what is not sustainable. We are not sharing about what is a design, what is a good design, which is, I would say, competitive discussion. So we have a lawyer and everything, but I would say 95% of the discussion is really pre-competitive, and there is no doubt that the fact sustainability is really a pre-competitive discussion. So now, how we can see the future of the integration of sustainability within the organization. What is sure for us is that there is no compromise on the level of commitment that you have to take. I would say 5 years ago, we started Contis 12 years ago, but even 5 years ago, we just wanted to be sure that we are improving ourselves. Sometimes we are doing mistakes because we think that recyclability is a good idea for my product, but maybe it's not. We were doing mistakes, but it was just a matter of I am doing improvement. Now we have a major shift with the fact that we know, and we know how to quantify that the planet has some boundaries. We have limits for the planet. For example, for the climate change, we have the limitation of the 2 degrees of the ways of the climate change worldwide. That's the limits which has been raised during the COP21, and it's clear that we have to have a climate change policy which is aligned with this commitment. It was not possible 3 years ago to have this type of commitment because it was one discussion with international panel of experts and the organization, and now we have some discussion and bridge between the international organization and companies to be sure that your climate change strategy is aligned with this type of commitment. For the water is the same, for the biodiversity is the same. We know what are the limits of the planet, and we know how to tackle the commitments to be sure that you are within the limits and you are not outside of the limits. Another main trend is that, at least on environmental, maybe on social it's a little bit different, you can be a little bit more qualitative, but on environmental issue, you need to be quantitative and you need to be science-based. You cannot say, I go in this direction, I go in this direction, if you have no metrics to be sure that you are improving and to be sure that the level of change you are pushing is a good one, it's very hard to avoid any situation of greenwashing. And at least when you have the commitment at the global level, you can have the commitment at the product level, meaning that you can have, I would say, redesign of your product development strategy, meaning that from the beginning till the end, you could have different type of metrics to be sure that everybody, from the strategic marketing people to the product development people, packaging people, formulation people, and the, I would say, the more marketing, operational marketing people, you have different type of targets, you have different type of green lights or red lights on the different topics, but they need to be part of the discussion altogether. One point which is very key, it's the fact that you have to go outside of your boundary, the boundary of your organization. You have to go till your supplier, through your customer, of course, even till the end of life of your product. The circularity principle is the fact that you have to find a way to be sure that not your product is put back in the circle of the product you are developing, but you have already thinking about what will be the end of the life of my product. So you have to be sure that everybody is on board to be sure that you have a clear, sustainable strategy. And last, it's to be sure that you are engaging your community, meaning that, for example, your customer, you have to award them if they are doing something. If they are bring back your product, if they are part of the circularity, you have to award them. You can award them by creating a green or sustainable community, or you can award them by putting in place the fact that you are buying back the product or the packaging that they will bring back to you, or you can put in place refillable or rechargeable packaging, but you have to put and to be sure that the community of people who will be on the strike today, because it's a young generation on environmental issue, you have an answer for them. You have an answer to engage them on your, I would say, on your fight on sustainability.
Thank you very much. I think, thank you. I think this issue about awarding the consumer is very important because people are very proud of participating, and I'm sure this is also the future. Cornelia, it's very nice of you to come from Sweden. You know, we wanted to have around this table a big company in the beauty industry, but I think a Swedish company is important because Sweden is also a country of respect of nature from a long time, and you're very much in advance. But also having Cornelia on the design side of a big corporation in beauty, I think was a very big chance. And I asked, of course, Cornelia to give her advice on an opinion and vision on that subject of desirability versus sustainability.
Thank you very much, Elie. Can you hear me? Is my mic on?
Can you hear?
No, oh.
Yeah.
Just a bit up.
Yeah.
I think it's falling down, unfortunately. Okay, I will try and speak loud. So my name is Cornelia Greco, and I am representing Oriflame. It's one of the world's largest beauty companies selling direct. We are present in 60 markets. We have 3 million of consultants connected to us. So I'm very happy to be here and discuss my point of view on this very broad topic. So let's jump.
Because it's a direct sale company, right? So 3 million consultants, it's 3 million salespeople in direct contact with the consumers.
Yeah, thank you. So let's jump into this topic. Sustainable first, that's what I'm a believer in. I don't believe that sustainability is a design code. It's nothing that you add later on. It has to be there in the start of the process, then it can transfer later on. I believe then that desirability will follow. We have a world that is changing, and we have millennials, we have a generation Z that is urging sustainable brands. They are urging for a lifestyle that is more sustainable. It's aspirational to be sustainable. I think there is a lot of potential in this. I have selected 3 different brands as references that I think is really answering really well to this quest for more sustainable brands. Some of them we have already seen here before. I think we have common interest in some
It's
brands.
okay.
And I am bringing 2 from outside of the beauty industry, actually. So I'm really happy to share Tesla with you all. I think this is a great example of a truly sustainable brand using design as the biggest feature. It's just smashing and progressive, and then they're talking about the performance. They are going from 1 to 60 miles per hour in 3.2 seconds. I think that is super cool to not really talk about sustainability as a factor. It's just more of a hygiene factor for this brand. The other one is Patagonia, as we touched upon as well. They are talking about a more considered consumerism. They are saying, don't buy me, buy less. And if you need to buy something, make sure you buy good quality so it will last you for a lifetime. I think that is also very interesting when it comes to quality, how you think about sustainability from that perspective. And the third one, not sure if you see what this is. For me, this is truly desirable. I think this soap bars is very direct. And I think you all have seen Lush, their naked story that they are launching. And I think it's just fantastic. Oh, no, I lost the connection. So it's fantastic how they actually go around less pack material. Being a packaging professional, I of course love packaging, but sometimes we have to stop and ask ourselves, is this packaging really needed? It depending on, of course, which channels you are in. If we're looking at retail, it's more easy to reduce pack. If we look at direct channels and e-commerce, it's harder because you need one, of course, to distribute your product. You need to make sure that it ends up and is being received as complete as possible, as perfect as possible. The other topic is, of course, that you need to market, you need to give information to your consumer about the product. So the packaging has a major role there, I believe. Well, this is just 3 examples of brands that I think are doing successful things when it comes to sustainability and answering to a new target group. As said, the world is changing, but also we need to be realistic. On the markets that we are on, the world isn't changing that fast. Just to paint this picture, actually the average of the markets that we are in, 80% ends up as landfill. So it's a quite sad figure, but I think it's up to the brands, the corporations, to try and work around these matters. What we can do when it comes to recycling offers, we can make our 3 million consultants into recycling stations, for example. So there is a lot that you can do to come around these facts. One of the brands that we have in our really wide portfolio of beauty offerings is Eco Beauty. I'm super proud of this. It's won awards. It is supported by Vegan Society. It's fair trade marked, eco certified, FCS marked as well. So it's a fantastic brand, and it ties really well together with the Scandinavian approach. We are a Swedish company, as you said, and we believe in the Swedish way of looking at beauty. We believe beauty is more than skin deep. We believe that not only looking good, but also acting good is beautiful. Why also we believe so much in sustainability. We have something in Sweden that is called Allemansrätten. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's truly on par with circular economy. So I believe that we have a lot of potential to further on increase the sustainable brands in our portfolio. Allemansrätten is probably for another show than this, so I will save that topic for later. To summarize, I think we can all start to think small. Just take those little steps that you can with your brand. It's better than doing nothing at all. Even baby steps is really of importance. But also dare to think big. I think it's very that we as brands have potential to challenge the status quo, to challenge manufacturers, suppliers, to help us to deliver on sustainability. But as said as well, let's minimize our footprint and optimize the good things that we do. And to end this, I want to say that I'm a big believer in brand power. I'm a believer in you, in me, in us all, because I think if done right, actually brands can change the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cornelia. I think what you were saying also about, I mean, Oriflame being a direct sale company, and what you said also about rewarding, I think it's very important that in your case you can really talk to your consumers and explain them. It's like in a store. Finally, it's a very much a question of communication with the consumer because they are ready to be engaged. They will be happy to be engaged, proud. And so in a direct sell company, you have a fantastic tool, like in the retail.
Absolutely. I am looking at the consultants as influencers as well on the journey where we are digitalizing ourselves. I believe that is an important thing to weigh in. We are quite far.
Thank you very much, Cornelia.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
sorry this is very short, but it's the game. So now, Boris, I was happy to have you on board because I think to have the vision of an entrepreneur. I mean, Boris was in big organization in beauty, but then decided to build his brand. And I was always been amazed by this project you have because nail lacquers. You're not the only one on earth to do nail lacquer, but you chose a very different way, and this is a great move you did. And so I wanted really to have your views on this subject, and thanks to your experience.
Thank you. So, to beginning, I said is we are not perfect, but we try to improve ourselves all the time, every day. That is not, you want to begin something, but that's more important, it's to try to be better and to improve. So I take an example. I want to take the example of the nail polish because you can speak about our hair colors or different topics. But nail polish is a good example because you have a bad reputation, very bad reputation for different topics. But for one, because first, you have one impact is you have an important environmental impact. Usually, in the nail polish is formulated with 60 or 70% of volatile solvents. So, for the industrialization, thousands of volatile organic compounds into the atmosphere. The other view is healthy impact. You have the nail polish contain numerous chemicals. So now you have legislation, and European legislation is a strict. It's the most these legislation are among the strictest worldwide. But now you don't have formaldehyde, phthalate, toluene, but you can find a lot of chemistry produced in the nail polish. So how can we can be more responsible when you make a polish? Now you have different solutions. The first solution that we can find now in the market, and more brands use this solution, is the green chemistry. And why this solution arrived? Because a social and environmental pressure pushed the industry to develop a cleaner and more eco-friendly processes. And today, using plant-based, we use plant-based in the nail polish and the renewable raw materials to industrialize nail polish. So we select different ingredients on sanitary, environmental, and technical requirements. So I give you an example. The example of Nailmatic here, the name of the product here is Pure Colors. So this nail polish is up to 84% plant-based formula. It made from natural origin raw materials like cotton, maize, potato, or manioc. The problem of the nail polish is you enter on the color, but another thing is very, very important is the long-lasting results and the wear. So now we have this solution of plant-based. You can have a good wear, and you have a 5. So it's not permanent solution, but it's a good solution for 5-day wear. I give you another example on the nail polish remover, because the remover have not good reputation than the nail polish. So I give you the example. Here's a lavender nail polish remover. So it's possible now to make polish remover. We have 100% of natural origin ingredients. So we use a lavender essential oil and sweet almond oil, and for the solvent is corn and sugar based solvent.
And efficiency is okay.
And the efficiency is okay with all the nail polish without permanent nail polish, because we must use acetone for this. So that's for us, that's the problem is more this proposition.
Of course.
And we think is for the health here, the other proposition is better. So that is interesting. You have this solution. So the solution, the best way, I think, and in the future, a lot of nail polish can be in plant-based nail polish because you have a good solution now. So we want to go. We want to develop a new concept. So we just launched, and we think in the future the solution is a water-based nail polish. Why is a water-based nail polish? Because it's a long-term solution. It's a chemical, but you have restricted by 2 factors today, because the chemical industry not provides the right ingredient soluble in the water today. So we don't find a solution. If you are a brand, you can be a brand. You can be a maker of ingredient, and so it's the reason why we depend of the solution that we can find on the market. It's less attractive today because we don't have the long-lasting traditional results, and it's less profitable. So it's a reason why the chemistry producer or the chemistry producer don't find or don't propose solution. It's a reason because it has a very small market. It's only 4% of the nail polish are water-based nail polish in the world. So we have a solution for this. So now we must improve this solution and this product. It's a nail polish is Aquanail, and it's a 44% of the product is water. So for the environment, it's the best solution today. So now that we must improve is the wear. It's an odorless product, so you don't have a VOC in the atmosphere. That is a big difference than other traditional nail polish. But you have a good. You can try it. But if you came on the boots, covering texture, shiny and easy to apply. It's a very beautiful texture. The problem today is the long-lasting results. You must, and the other thing is you must use a top coat. We must be more transparent. I come on this subject because I think it's very, very important. I say when you introduce that Nailmatic manifest, but we are not perfect, but we work and improve ourselves every day. So that is very important because all the time we try to improve the formula and to find more wear and other proposition. So other thing that be careful to not enter in the greenwashing and because when you speak about a plant-based product, you can speak about organic nail polish. So to use the good name and the good words and not to try to speak about product with the false words. Because today the transparency, I think and honesty, it's very, very, very important for the brand. So, you can have a backfire very quickly, and especially with the social media, and now we have an application like Yuka, or I don't know. And the other thing is, don't believe that when you make beauty, we make fashion accessories, or you make fashion. And for example, for the nail polish, colors is very, very important. So beautiful and colorful products are always more attractive for consumer, but we must do environmental and natural product too. That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Boris, and also in this very tight timing. For me, the conclusion, the conclusion of your speech would be you don't have to be perfect right away, but we have to try hard and maybe think big, as you said. Think big on the engagement and improve every day. It's more a quest. That's what I understand. I think maybe in 45 minutes we don't get the answers on the question, but at least we're opening the doors. So it's a quest. I think it's a good lesson for today. Let's go on this road and let's go on this quest and think big. Thank you very much. Usually we have questions and answers, but because we began a bit late, it can't be possible. So I'm engaging you also to maybe come back to our speakers that are very good experts. I think Dimitri and Cornelia, they have to go to take a flight, but Boris and Jonathan will be here, and myself as well, and you can contact them. So thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice show.